Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Sekiro Shadows Die Twice on the ROG Ally. So if you want to see how it runs on Steam Deck, there's also a video on that. So we're going to start with plugged into the wall at 1080p. And on the advanced settings, it's nothing special, it's basically high settings. With, well, motion blur, we can keep it on high if you like it. Personally, I'm not a huge fan, but if we're playing below 60, it's not a bad idea. And going below these settings, I think it's not worth it, just like in Elden Ring, runs almost the same. But on the visual side of things, it's much worse going below this, so doesn't make sense to use that. And now into the game at 30 watts, once again, make sure to open this menu and set this to 120 Hz, so you are using VRR. But the game without a mod is locked to 60 FPS. You can use the mod, but it's a little bit finicky to set up on the ROG Ally. But if you're interested in unlocking the frame rate, there is a link in the description for that mod. Again, it's like an executable file that changes some of the memory, but it doesn't really affect the executable of the game. So you shouldn't get banned. But still, I think most people will just boot up the game and expect it to work, which is what we're doing. And as you can see on 1080p with these settings, the game looks pretty good. We get drops below 60, but we are very close to the VRR window. So while 1080p is nice, I wouldn't say it's perfect. But if you want a sharp UI, it's understandable. I wish this game had FSR. And with 900p, as you can see here, we get 60s. But it won't be perfect. There are CPU limitations, like in Elden Ring. There's parts when the GPU usage drops, and it seems to be just like a single core use issue. So even at 720, you're going to face drops below 60 in certain sections, especially when looking into the distance. Like you're seeing right now, the GPU is not fully utilized, especially when looking into the distance, which is kind of a shame. But the game is also limited to 60 without any modding whatsoever. So yeah, looking into the distance is usually the big problem. But most of the time between 50 and 60 at 900p, which is well within the VRR window. So here we are again plugged into the wall. So 720, medium to high settings, doesn't need to go higher or lower. And again, make sure here that you're putting 120. You can also disable VSync from the AMD control panel, or it won't unlock the frame rate, but at least you'll have what's the name of this? You have VRR. So you won't have the extra lag from VSync, or just use a mod. Again, there is one in the description. And again, I'm running around because, well, I'm trying to show you. But at 720, as you can see, is smoother, definitely. Less drops below 60. But they can still happen due to the game when you look into the distance. Especially when you get to the top of the castle. Man, if you look down there, you can drop into the 40s. But 720 is also a good option. But I would save it for handheld play. And before jumping into the handheld view, this is a place that is more GPU intensive. There's fire, there's a good amount of geometry, and as you can see at 720, it's fine. Still again, drops here and there, but well within the VRR window. I forgot how to block. Oh, never. Sorry. How to heal. But it's a badass game. Not gonna lie. See, there still drops below 60. which it sucks, but hey, what can you do? From software engine is from software engine. So let's just die and swap into handheld view. Welcome to handheld mode. We're at 1080p with the settings that I showed you at the very beginning. Let me show you those again. 1080p, advanced settings like this. And here, make sure it's at 120. Trust me on that one, so you're within the VRR window. If you disable VSync from the AMD panel, 18 watts, why is that? To maximize battery life. I didn't notice a huge difference with going 20 watts on this one. So on 1080p, it looks pretty good. Super sharp, actually. I'm pretty impressed that a handheld can do this. This will net you like maybe 90 minutes of battery on a full charge, 1.5 hours. So if you don't mind 40-ish FPS, this should be good enough, at least in my opinion. Although it might drop below 40 in some locations. Especially when there is lots of transparencies. And we're a bit below the VRR window, when it drops like below 48 FPS. So yeah, 1080p is nice, looks sharp, but again, 900p I think is the best of both worlds. You're usually very close to the VRR window. And actually it looks pretty nice. You're more into the 50s. And there's a large enemy, of course. Let's look into the distance, like I told you before. And there's where it likes to drop. But see, the GPU is not even at 100%. So I think there's some engine limitation going on as well. But I think this is the best of both worlds. You get a very sharp resolution. You get a very decent frame rate, 40 to 60. You can unlock it with a mod, but I wouldn't recommend it personally. It's kind of a pain in the ass sometimes. But after you set it up, you should be good to go. But the game doesn't even get close to 100 FPS, so I don't know. Try it if you want to. I'll just disable VSync from the AMD panel to use the VRR capabilities because this game forces VSync. But before I go, I should probably show you 720p because some people want to be way closer to 60, which I completely understand in a game like this, super fast-paced. So 720p. Again, each time you change the resolution, please make sure that this is at 120, especially if you're playing with VSync off from the AMD panel. We should be getting less load on the GPU, and since the game is capped to 60, yeah, like 90 minutes of battery. But it's Sekiro at 6 FPS, so yeah, there's some drops here and there, but completely fine. Let's see if we look into the distance. And we're playing at 18 watts. No, we're not even playing at 20. At 20 watts, maybe you get a couple extra frames, but yeah, even at 720, we can drop into the 40s. But again, well within the VRR window, so it's completely smooth. So far, so good. And it's portable Sekiro, so if you want to be more stressed than usual on the go, this is perfect. This place has way more fire, should be more GPU intensive. As you can see, while looking this way for some reason, I drop into the 40s, but the GPU is not fully utilized. So again, FromSoft engine weirdness going on. So I'm guessing single-threaded CPU performance limitation. Again, that's just a guess. I'm not a From Software engineer. So in areas like this, it can also drop into the 40s. This is more GPU intensive, but look at the GPU usage. And 720, while it's nice, at least from a portable standpoint, it's not going to be 60. Due to the fact that there's areas like this, where the engine for some reason doesn't like us trying to hit 60s. Let me see if an increase in wattage fixes this, just as a quick test. So we look right there. Right there? There we go. And we're into the 50s, but we move the camera. Yeah, when we move around here, it drops into the 40s sometimes. Let's increase the wattage to 25 just to see if that fixes the problem. Okay, so I gave it an extra 7 watts of power. Yeah, it still drops. Yeah, quite a shame. So again, 900p, as I showed you a moment ago, I think is the best option, best balance of visuals and performance. You'll drop into the 40s, 40 to 60 FPS. Disable VSync from the AMD panel. Make sure that this is at 120 Hz, so you use VRR, and you'll be good to go. You should be able to enjoy Sekiro pretty well, at least in my opinion, because at 720 it looks way softer, and performance is almost the same because the GPU is not being fully utilized. So yep, that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did revisiting Sekiro. I wanted to play some Souls games after playing Elden Ring's DLC. So here we are. I'm still terrible at all of them, but I like the aesthetic and all that. This game has some sort of soul going on. Ha! So thanks for watching, and I'll see ya next time. Bye guys.